Hi, good afternoon and welcome to the John Gaunt live show. It's an extra one for you. It's Sunday afternoon, joined by Ricky Jones behind me. No, he isn't there really, but we're going to talk about him because I'm asking you the question today and I want you to join in right from the beginning. Is Britain cutting its own throat, as he alluded to a year ago? Found innocent, of course. You may want to talk about that. I'll tell you why I asked this question, because the Union flag has been banned in Birmingham. Lads have been putting it up on lampposts. It's been banned, but they still found the money to light up the library in the colours of Pakistan. They're doing it same for India as well. No doubt they'll be doing it for St. George's Day. No hope whatsoever. This is a disgrace. Then on top of that, we've got illegal migrants given homes now. And I told you that would happen. I told you he'll do a con trick. He'd say, look, I've got them out of the hotels, but he's putting them into private houses. And it gets worse. He hasn't even told the councils where he's put them. So you could have a home of multiple occupation with 6 single men of fighting age living next to you next week. Is that right? Meanwhile, Starmer is glad ragging around the globe again. He's got more air miles than Judith bloody Chalmers. He's away again. He's going to Washington to help Donald Trump bring peace to the Ukraine. I tell you what he is doing. He's taking the peace. Comment if you want to, please. And how about this? We've got a justice system that has absolutely shocked the nation. The verdict on Ricky Jones. Now, I'm going to tell you something. It is two-tier justice, but not in the sense that I believe the jury was nobbled or it was the judge or anything like that. He got treated completely differently. The rioters in Southport were told, you better confess for it because you've obviously said it, and then you'll get a third of your sentence off. That's what people like Lucy Connolly did. Almost a con. That's where the two-tier system is. However, this man, I hazard a guess, big trade union leader, he stands in front of a crowd and says, we should slit their throats, calls everybody on the opposition far-right fascists. He definitely said it as well, just like Lucy Connolly wrote it. He doesn't get done for incitement. He walks free. He had lots of reasons, and I wasn't in court. So, as I say, I'm not criticising the jury. He says he's got ADHD. He says he's... anyway, he regrets it, he says. So he was found not guilty. Now, we have to respect that. But what I'm saying is, I bet you he had a brilliant lawyer because he's a trade union official. I bet you he had the best money could buy, or them doing it for nothing for him. So then he could come up with the reasons for why he said what he said and perhaps convince a jury. I do not believe it's two-tier in the sense of corruption in that way. What I believe it is that ordinary people got caught up in the moment in Southport. They went to prison. And on top of that, Keir Starmer went to Southport with a wreath, ran away, and then he made his famous statement about them all being far-right thugs, saying he didn't want to understand them. He just wanted to throw the book at them. And therefore, when people like Lucy got found guilty, they did get the book thrown at them. And she's still in prison. That's where the two-tier bit is, in my opinion. You may have a different view. Get on the comments now and tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. I'm really, really interested in what you've got to say on this today. But I'm going to take the image of cutting our throats and say the UK is cutting its own throat because illegals are getting homes and we've now banned, or in Birmingham, we've banned the flag. Good afternoon, by the way. I am John Gaunt. Thank you for supporting these podcasts and these broadcasts. If you're watching now, remember to tell other people and get them streaming. If you're listening on an audio podcast, welcome. Come back and watch it on TV, on John Gaunt TV on YouTube. Right, let's go through the agenda. Birmingham City Council has gone bankrupt, like many councils across the country. But they then banned the Union flag from lampposts. A lot of it was up in Northfield. I lived there when I first went to university in Birmingham. It is a largely white area. Anyway, these lads have been putting the flags up. I thought it improved the area from the photos I'd seen. However, the council is saying these flags are dangerous, so they want them taken down. However, in the meantime, they spent an absolute fortune lighting up the city library, you probably saw it, for Pakistan Day, which is really bizarre. Maybe day means something else in Pakistani, because it went on for 3 days, as far as I could see, celebrating, dancing in the street, and of course, as per usual, fighting later. So they lit it up for Pakistan Day. They're going to do it for India. I understand why. They've got a large Indian and a Pakistani population. However, is it a good use of money when you're already bankrupt, when there's rubbish piling up in the streets, when you haven't even sorted out the dustbin men? Well, maybe I'd hazard a guess it isn't. So I'd like your views on that today, please. Also, as well, with the flags, they've said, and there's a leaked report, they haven't taken down any Pakistani flags that have been put up illegally, or indeed flags supporting Palestine, right? They're still up in Birmingham. If you go down into Spark Hill, you'll see them. I love that area where all the Bulgy houses is. But they're all there. This is two-tier flags, isn't it? What do you think about that? How come we can't have the flag of St. George or the Union flag in Birmingham? It's wrong. Do you agree with me? Meanwhile, the Labour councillor, Ricky Jones, he was found not guilty after he branded protesters on the telly. It's all on the telly. And if you look at this picture behind me, that's him saying it, right? He called the protesters Nazi fascists, and he urged the crowd, which was allegedly like a tinderbox, he said we need to cut their throats, and did this action. Now, it's gone to court. He did not plead guilty a year ago when he did this, unlike a lot of the people in Southport. A lot of the people in Southport pleaded guilty because they wanted to get a third off, probably never been in trouble with the law before. But what they didn't realise, obviously, as soon as you say, yes, I'm guilty of saying that, then you're going to be branded a far-right lunatic. Lucy Connolly, 31 months in prison. Listen, I'm not defending what she said. What she said was horrid, and she did deserve to be punished for it, but not 31 months in jail, particularly in the light of Ricky Jones. Now, of course, because she pleaded guilty, that was going to be the sentence. So she got what she deserved in that way. But Ricky Jones, because he's a trade union official, and probably got help from the Labour Party, I don't know, they did suspend him, and they're saying that the suspension is still going to be kept in place at the moment. He actually said we need to cut their throats, and he's walking free. Now, I'm sure he didn't mean go and get a knife and start slashing people's throats, just like I'm sure Lucy Connolly didn't really mean burn the hotels down. And who cares? But then again, Lucy Connolly, 4 hours after writing that nonsense, apologised and took it down. That's where the two-tier thing is. Now, your lefties on social media, right, and the smart-ass commentators on certain newspapers are basically saying people who think it's two-tier, they're morons. No, they're deliberately, these commentators, missing what the objection is. And the objection is that people caught up in Southport didn't really understand the law as much as somebody like Ricky Jones. You'll notice I'm not criticising the jury or the judge. I know nothing about it. I wasn't there. What I am saying is he had 12 months, because there was loads and loads of pushbacks on the court case, to get his story right and to show the mitigating evidence, including the fact that he says he's neurodiverse, which undoubtedly all went into the jury's thinking. That said, the jury only spent 31 minutes considering all the evidence, which I do find a bit strange, but he's been found not guilty. So what I'm saying is this will just all fuel more problems for Keir Starmer if he ever comes back to Britain, the country he's meant to lead. Because at the moment, as I say, he's gone off, or is going off this evening, to help President Trump bring peace to the Ukraine. I bet Trump's so pleased he's coming. And also the whole coalition of the useless are going, including the guy I nearly had a fight with in the European Parliament, Stubbs or whatever his name is, from Finland. What the fuck have Finland got to do with the Ukraine? It's just a nonsense. Just a nonsense. But I like the way this week that Trump has actually tried to sort it out. But again, the middle class commentators in all the newspapers and in the MSM, they're so in bed with Starmer, they just slag him off. And because it's Trump, they hate the fact that Trump might have come up with a good idea. He might have even come up with a solution. Again, I don't know. But wouldn't you give it a chance? What's your view? All of these things are kind of tied together. And we, the common people, are meant to keep quiet and just accept all this bullshit. I say no. The time for that is over. It's now time to be standing up and be counted. Then, finally, the last thing I want to throw in here. As predicted by me, the illegal migrants, the Dover dinghy boys, 25,000 growing to 26,000 since Starmer came to power, are going to be moved from hotels, or already being moved, into so-called homes of multiple occupation. Have you seen the adverts? There's loads in Coventry. From Serco. If you've got a terraced house and you want to rent it out, you no longer rent it to students. You go along to Serco. They'll make the alterations that are necessary. They'll pay for it. And then they pay for all the maintenance and guarantee you 5 years rent. If you're a small town landlord, why wouldn't you take that? Why wouldn't you take that? You probably would. So they're going to disperse these people. It's called scatter all over the country, but obviously not to the Cotswolds, or obviously not next to where Sir Keir Starmer lives. Oh, no. To places where you live. Now, I would also suggest, because of these sexual assaults that we've been having and rapes, and I'm not saying that everybody in the dinghy is a rapist or a sexual pervert, just like the liberals can't say that everybody in the dinghy is an effing rocket scientist or a doctor or is going to save our NHS. No one can say that, mainly because we don't know who is in the boats. Nobody else in the boat knows who they are. They haven't got a passport. They're breaking into our country. They are illegals. People keep telling me they're not illegal. The moment they claim asylum, they're not illegal. They're illegal the moment they get in that effing dinghy, in my opinion. And that's why the only way you're going to stop this is not by massaging the figures and putting them in homes of multiple occupation and hoping nobody notices. The only way you're going to stop it is by deterring them from coming in the first place. Rwanda didn't get off the ground, but there's other ways we could do it, like closing down the hotels, put them into tents and put them in old warehouses. Job sorted. Then our Navy in the Channel, our soldiers on the beach, and anybody who turns up, they're told fundamentally, you are illegal, you're going straight back. If you don't go back, you're going into a camp or even a prison. We should open up big old military installations. There's loads all over the country, Open them up and put them in there in tents, army tents, look after them well. But the whole idea behind this being you're not going to walk into town in the afternoon. Therefore, we're not putting you in the sweet shop. We're not putting you in the front window of Thornton's if you've got a sugar addiction, if you know what I mean. Better for them, better for us. No more squeezy soap. Bill cut massively. And also Serco, they are making a fortune. They've made a fortune out of the hotels. The hotels have made a fortune. Now private landlords are. Meanwhile, there's no houses for other people like your kids who might want to rent a house. No, because any ordinary person who gets offered 5 years guaranteed rent, everything paid for, all the bills, no danger, no problems, they're going to take it, aren't they? They are going to take it. They're going to be massively tempted. This is a disgrace. And this is the Labour Party. This is Sir Keir Starmer. This is a socialist doing this. And it's got worse. Today, city councils have been saying the length and breadth of the country, we didn't know that we've already got homes of multiple occupation full of asylum seekers, irregular immigrants, illegal immigrants, whichever term you want to use. And that's why I say the UK is being invaded and fundamentally changed at such a speed, no wonder people are protesting on the streets. Meanwhile, Keir Starmer is playing a world statesman with his coalition of the useless. So my question to you today is this. Are we cutting our own throat as a sovereign nation? Give me your views. Give me your views and give me them now. Thank you. This is a late show and you just decided to do it today. 23 likes. That's brilliant. Press the like button if you're enjoying it. And don't forget, you can donate. You know how to do it. Just get on with it. Greg Galvin, he says, it's only going to get worse, John, until we can penetrate. Some of them would like that. The MSM, the mainstream media. The mushroom population still think GB News is just for racists. I know, I've had loads of that today. There's a brilliant report last night by Ben Yo. Is it Ben? Not Ben Yo. What's his name? You know the geezer I mean. He's on GB News. Ben Leo. I don't know what his name is. Anyway, he came into his own. He did a whole report about a town up north where these houses of multiple occupation are. And he interviewed an Afghan. And the Afghan said, what? Somebody got kicked out of this house so I could have it? Well, that's not right. He actually said that. So fair play to the Afghani. They used the threat of remand against the protesters. Meanwhile, he was immediately granted bail. Yeah, you're comparing Southport with Ricky. I don't know over that. There seems to be a big argument about that. And like I'm saying, today, I'm not getting into the jury was nobbled or anything. I don't know, because I doubt it. And I'll tell you one thing, I do not want trial by jury to disappear. That would make life even worse. So that's what I'm saying. Hi, John. I don't believe the Afghan saga leak. I believe it's a ruse to cover up the boats coming over from France. What, you don't think there's a leak and therefore that other 20-odd thousand that came in on the plane? I don't know, but what would be the reason for that, my friend? What would be the reason? Explain that to me. Greg Galvin, it's going to be Texas or Florida for me if this gets any worse. I'm contemplating arming my 15-year-old daughter with a UK legal flick knife as we live near Epping. I know you're thinking things like that, Greg. It's not the answer, though, is it, my friend, on Facebook? I understand your frustration. The answer is for Keir Starmer to listen to the people. He's mad keen to get himself to Washington again to listen to Trump about Putin. Why is he not dealing with things here? Why didn't he deal with it in Southport? Why didn't he go over to those protesters right at the beginning? Why didn't he tell us it was a Rwandan immigrant? Not immigrant. Yeah, his parents were immigrants, and that they knew who he was. Why did he keep us in the dark? His own terrorism czar said that led to the rioting. But meanwhile, Lucy Connolly and other people went to prison. And I say it was mainly, I don't want to use the word thick, but what I mean is ignorant of the law. And I think if I got pulled in and somebody said, you're looking at 3 years here, Gaunty, you're on video, you definitely said it. Yeah. You may as well plead guilty, fess up, and then you get a year off. You'd be tempted, wouldn't you? Ricky, don't lose my number. He obviously was a bit more astute about the law. So he went on remand for a very short time compared to Lucy. He then obviously got himself tooled up with good lawyers. And he has been found, and we can't argue with this, not guilty. If you believe in 12 good men and true, which I do, I mean, I just wrote Speechless when it came out, because I was, and I got thousands, tens of thousands of response on Facebook and Twitter, because we were all like, what? No. Can't be. But you can't argue with it because you look stupid if you start saying they must have been nobbled, because that definitely won't have happened. And then people are saying about the judge, she's this, she's that. Maybe. But listen, I believe in the jury system. I've been on a jury 3 times myself. I think you've got to believe in it. Otherwise, we're finished. This government is trying to cause a civil war. What other excuse can there be? Says Denise Deacon, speaking, I think, on YouTube. I don't know. I don't know, Denise. I'm wondering, is it all on purpose? Is it to wind us up? Are they gaslighting us? Because it is ludicrous. How could anyone in Downing Street think, oh, I've got a wizard wheeze, Keir? Oh, yeah, what's that? We'll move them out of the hotel. We'll put them into homes of multiple occupation. And we'll really ramp it up this week. Why? Well, because we've had that assault in Nuneaton where 2 Afghanis are allegedly raped a young girl. Oh, and there's another one in such and such, one in Manchester, one. Yeah, so we'll do it this week. That's good timing, isn't it? It isn't, is it? So why are they doing it? What are they trying to do? Is it a conspiracy? But I don't think there's a conspiracy in terms of him not getting a prison sentence. I don't. But if you disagree, tell me. But we've got to be careful what we say because he's been found not guilty. Michael Caffery. Sorry, John, I've agreed with most, if not all, your comments. But in this case, you're missing the essential point in Lucy Connolly case of freedom of speech. Well, you've not made a point there, Michael. That's all just bland. That's just you haven't said anything. What are you trying to say? I'm quite willing to say, okay, I've missed the point, but could you make the point of the point I'm missing? You haven't said anything. It isn't about freedom of speech. By her own admission, what she wrote was wrong. She shouldn't have said that. It was an incitement. It was. But it's whether she's got the right sentence. And if that was incitement, why wasn't his? And anyway, that's what we're discussing. Can you not see that? But if maybe I've got it wrong, tell me. Tony Hodgkinson, what happens with these landlords after 5 years are up? Well, they probably go and live in the West Indies in a big villa or Florida. I don't know. They won't be thinking that far. Governments don't think 5 months, 5 weeks, 5 days ahead. It's all about surviving for the next day. Because you know what's going to happen now. Starmer must be going, oh, thank effing hell for that. I'll go to Washington. I can bathe. If the peace thing comes off, I can bathe in that for ages. Yeah, and people will be distracted away. It's like the flags thing. That's a massive, massive story. Our flag's not allowed in Birmingham, but they're scared to pull down the Pakistani ones in case there's riots. It's again a case of 2-tier where they treat the predominantly white population as if we can't be trusted, as if we're the animals. We're the people trying to kill other people. We're the racists. That's some woman today called me a racist and saying, you're in favour of concentration camps. I've always stressed when we put them into a camp, which has to be behind barbed wire, they can't be allowed just to walk into Warwick Town Centre or Coventry or wherever they are. They need to be there. It isn't a prison. They'll be looked after. And if they don't like it, they can go. Jocks away, Stelius. That's not a concentration camp. And this is where it's going wrong. And the lefties today are all got their tails up, mainly because they can't talk about Ukraine, because their devil incarnate, Trump, looks, and it only looks at the moment, as if he might have pulled something off. That's what they're panicking about. I actually think they want the war to continue, some of these European leaders. It gives them a purpose in life. Likewise, with the illegal boats. Otherwise, you'd just stop it, wouldn't you? It could easily be stopped. It's not difficult. It's a bit like having a bogeyman, isn't it? Tell your kids, if you're not nice, if you don't behave, Father Christmas won't come. That's where it's wrong. And that's the same with this 2-tier justice. And it's the same with the flags. And why are they spending money lighting up a library for Pakistan Day? And why does Pakistan Day go on for 3 days? You should be able to ask these questions and not be accused of being a racist, shouldn't you? If you want to comment, get on now, because I will be finishing soon. It's not going to be a long one, this. Right, I just want to, let's pull back a little bit. We'll take a short advert break. If you like what I do, please remember, I'm totally independent and I rely on your donations. So if you'd like to donate, press that little, little padlock thing, $sign. Just press that and donate anything that you want so I can help continue to develop these podcasts. And as you know, I'm now doing the set piece interviews. I mean, last week we had 3 brilliant ones. A great one about the BBC and freedom of speech. If you believe in freedom of speech, that was from a younger lad to me and me talking about our experience. And I'm 30 years older than him. Our experience of how the BBC manipulate the agenda around certain things. And you should watch it or listen to it at least when you're walking the dog. Brilliant podcasts. And we've done others last week with set piece guests. And there's more to come. I'm now producing about 8 or 9 pieces of content a week. On top of that, all the funny stuff I'm putting up on Twitter. So if you would like, Ben Leo, that's his name, if you on GB News, did a great job last night. If you'd like to join in and help me, please press that little $sign and donate some money. Or alternatively, go to www.buymeacoffee.com and send me anything from a $5 upwards. Tony, Craig Molson, how many times have I got to tell you this, Craig? If you want to make a comment, you make it through me. So he's written, Tony, I think the landlords will stay the same. Why don't you say it to me? John, I think the landlords will stay the same. Don't want you having individual conversations. Cara Howard says it was obvious he was going to get away with it. Yeah, well, I know that's what it feels like. But if you think there was a conspiracy to make that happen, then we're in a really bad situation. Because the 12 members of the jury are just picked from the public. Now, I do know the judge can direct in certain ways. Of course, I'm not naive. But I say the 2-tier justice happened before then. Well before he ended up in court. And that's where it's wrong. Nobody want to talk about the flags in Birmingham. Why not? Is that not important? I think it is. And what about Ukraine and Donald Trump? Why do all the liberals hate him so much? What happens if he has pulled this off? All right, now back to your donation thing. www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt is the other way of doing it if you fancy. Right. Anybody else want to comment, or shall we pack up there? Shall we pack up? That was a good one here. I'd sit them all on Wimbledon-style umpire chairs on roundabouts with instructions to shoot the tires out of anyone who doesn't indicate at the roundabout. What are you on about? No food or water, and just chuck the body in the sea when they're dead. Replaced with the next one until none left and no more want to come in. Win-win for UK motorists and the immigration issue. Did that make any sense in your head as you wrote it, Greg? Or what are you trying to say? What are you? I just think that's nonsense. I don't get it. Sorry, Greg. Maybe I'm missing it. Or was it an attempt at humour? What other country, other than the UK, would ban their own flag? Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, and why haven't government got in on that? Why hasn't Starmer made a comment? Although Starmer, he's been away all week. He's flying in and out. He's been on holiday this week. But he flew in to see Zelensky and have the big manly hug outside 10 Downing Street. Now he's going to fly to Washington, D.C. It's crazy. We're being led by a complete and utter muppet. Denise Deacon, thank you ever so much. She just donated £2.99, £3 on a super sticker here on YouTube. It's very much appreciated. Thank you, Denise. If you'd like to do the same, just press that $sign for me. Let's go back to Starmer. What's Starmer up to? His popularity has fallen even more. People think he only cares about stuff abroad. So you'd think he'd do stuff here. Mind you, he's leaving that to Angela Rayner, isn't he? Angela Rayner, I mean, apart from she wants to now concrete over allotments to build houses, Another one is she's now having to go at Nigel Farage, saying he supports rape and sexual assault against women because he's not backing their, what's it called, online safety bill. Well, he's not backing it because he doesn't think it works. He's allowed to do that. That doesn't mean he's a misogynist. I don't think he should have met Tate. I could argue that as well. I don't particularly like Tate being a father of 2 girls. Of course I don't. But it's kind of some of the stuff you read. And then you hear the politicians, they've seen it on Twitter or X, and then they amplify it in public life. It's a crazy world we're living in at the moment. People comparing what's happening in Gaza to the genocide. It's not the same. Not only that, people comparing what I've said today about putting them in secure camps. Well, that's like you want to put them in Belsen or Auschwitz. You want the final solution. No, I don't. That was horrendous. I want these people looked after. But the best way to look after these people coming across the channel is not let them come in the first place. May I direct your attention to Donald Trump? On the southern border, he's got immigration down, but illegal immigration, irregular, as Starmer would call it, down by 95%. No one's coming. Can I direct you to Greece? 2 or 3 weeks ago, they said anybody who arrives at any of the Greek islands who shouldn't be there, you're illegal. We're either going to deport you immediately or we're going to put you in one of our prisons. Guess what? Dropped off a cliff. Why can't we be the same? That's not being nasty. If anything, it's being cruel to be kind. You don't want people coming over the channel and dying, do you? I see they're the bits that don't add up with Starmer. Starmer says this cruel trade in people, we've got to stop it, and then lets it carry on, doesn't he? I struggle with this. I really do. Just like I've struggled with the flags. Why you would allow the Birmingham Council say, I want all those flags down, which must be costing them money to take them down, but we'll have a celebration of Pakistan. Yeah, but hold on a minute, councillor. Yeah, we're skint. Shut up, you racist bastard. Why can't we celebrate Pakistani Day? Well, because we got no money. Well, you object. Well, we didn't do it for St. George's Day. That's definitely racist. You can imagine the conversations, can't you? And this all winds up ordinary people. It certainly winds up me. Maybe I'm not ordinary. Anyway, so that's my view on that. It's just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And of course, this bloke, I'd like to see a proper apology from him. That's what he should do now. He won't, but that's what he should do. Because he did use those words. I notice he's not denying he said those things. That's what should happen, shouldn't he? See, Laird Carbacken says, the public, the jury, was picked from an area that reflects people who share Tricky Ricky's sentiments. Well, see, you're now, by writing it like that, you're saying that was the wrong sentence. You weren't in court, so you don't know. And of course, the jury should come from the area. Of course. It's 12 good men and true. And it should mirror the community. I don't know what your... Laird, I don't know what your criticism is there. You just didn't get the result you wanted. It wasn't the result I wanted. But we weren't in court. I'm telling you that the 2-tier bit happened well before that. And I think it goes through the whole of society. If you listen to that broadcast about the BBC, what he's talking about in there is that when the BBC cover a protest, they almost make a subconscious, unconscious decision. Load of left-wing people, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's just stop oil. Well, actually, I quite agree with that. You know, global warming, it's going to kill us all. We're all going to drown. So they go kid gloves on it. If it's Tommy Robinson or the Countryside Alliance, it's a different attitude. They're looking for the trouble. Don't believe me? Look at these migrant hotel disturbances. They've been happening all over the country. But if you looked at the BBC, you'd think it's only happened in Epping. and perhaps in Nuneaton. The local BBC station, I've not had a satisfactory answer to this, in Coventry, which covers Nuneaton, didn't mention the rape, well, the alleged rape of the young girl and the choking of her by the other one while it was going on, alleged, right? Didn't mention it for days. And then when they did mention it, they'd obviously had it legaled, but they wrote it on their website as if it had just happened recently. That's not journalism. That's PR spin. But that's where we've got to. That's where we've got to as a society. Like, if you watch the news today, apart from GB News, but if you watch the BBC and ITV, it's, oh, Starmer's going over, so's the president of Finland. He's a tosspot, right? He called me a racist as well. And then when I said to him, how much immigration have you got? The answer was none. So I said, well, do you know what you're talking about? Anyway, they're all on the plane. And of course, tonight, when that plane takes off with Starmer, all the BBC mob will be on there with him. How many times do I have to tell you? They're all sleeping, either literally or metaphorically, with them. The press, so-called lobby journalists, the press pack. That's why you don't get the truth. And they'll make out that Starmer is doing something. He's doing so well on the world stage. You know, that's the biggest thing they say. He's doing so well on the world stage. What a pity that can't be reflected in the domestic. It's not a pity. It's because he's got no fucking spine. He won't deal with it. He won't talk to the women outside the migrant hotels. He won't talk to the people who lost their children in some way, to the actual people who lost it, but the other people in the Southport community. He won't do it. He's too frit. He's a coward. He's spineless. He's an amoeba. But they'll all be on the plane with him because it's a free trip to Washington. Oh, we're making history. History's already been made. Whatever the deal is done. It was done before Trump met Putin last week. They're just there to glad hand and do the signatures. I hope that they have come to an agreement, but Zelensky will no doubt throw his toys out of the pram and try to cause trouble. Well, I said this months ago. We must say to Zelensky, we're backing Donald. Because without Donald, you cannot achieve anything. But when they set up their coalition of the useless, they still had to say, well, we need Donald Trump's troops. Do you see what I'm trying to get to the honesty of this? Laird's come back saying it wasn't criticism, it was an observation. Yeah, it is an observation, Laird. I understand where you're coming from. But if you believe in juries, which I do, I don't want judges making the decision. Magistrates are bad enough. But judges, we need the jury. That's the whole idea. If we believe a judge has misdirected a jury, we can appeal, of course. But, you know, when you said they're going to be made up of the local community, well, they will be. And that's the way it should be. That's all. I'm not criticising you either. John, do you think that this was Starmer's plan, along to immigrants in houses to make more spaces in the hotels? Well, I don't know what his plan was. Because I don't think there has been a plan. I don't think there was a plan for what he wanted to do in government, apart from some vague sixth form back of the fag packet economics done by Rachel Reeves. Let's tax the richer bastards. Let's tax big corporations. Let's not put NI up, but we'll put it up for the employer. Oh, that's going to knacker all the hospitality trade. Oh, well, they've probably made loads of money anyway out of COVID. It's this kind of simplistic thinking, right? Who are we going to put in charge of foreign affairs? David Lammy. The man who called the president, the man in charge of the free world, a member of the KKK. Well, that's a good idea. That's a brilliant idea. Yeah, put him in there. Oh, who are we going to put in terms of transport? What about the bird who nicked the who lost the mobile phone, found it again, didn't tell the police, and then got the sack? Oh, yeah, we'll have her. She's got pink hair. That's great. She's an individual. Who shall we make deputy prime minister? Oh, I know. Angela Fag Ashlil. She'll do it. What a pity Lily Savage died. Otherwise, he'd have got the gig, wouldn't he? It's just, when you start to think it through, it's just ludicrous, just mad. Don't get me wrong. The Conservatives have created this problem over the last 14 years. They've done nothing to change things. But now we're on the way to hell in a handcart. Michael Caffrey says, but am I inciting violence? Well, you mean you think about the roundabout? I don't know. I just thought it flipping stupid what you said, Michael. Sorry, don't want to upset you. If I was you, I'd give up now and come back tomorrow. Maybe Lucy Connolly was just expressing her thoughts. Difficult one, and maybe it's semantics, but no. She said what she said. She shouldn't have said it because it wasn't pleasant and it could incite people. I don't think it would have done, but it could have done. But saying slit in the throat, she's certainly on the same sort of level, isn't it? The two-tier thing is the fact that she confessed. But nobody wants to talk about that. It's like when Starmer said, I don't want to talk about the reasons for the rioting. That sounds like a Tory minister from the 20 or 30 years ago. You've got to know why people are rioting, or why people trash their areas, or why people are graffitiing and all the rest of it. Understand the reason, and then you can solve the problem. Peacehaven Dweller just reposted the stream. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I just think, I don't know, it's just weird because these people are meant to be Labour, but they're not acting like socialists. They're not trying to understand. They want to understand less and condemn more. That's just outdated. Absolutely outdated. Michael, I told you to give up because the next line you've just put in makes, but party has put is in. I don't know what you're on about. Anyway, that's me done. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to really I'm a bit disappointed with the reaction to this show because I really wanted to get into where the blame lies. Because I think a lot of the blame for the riots in Southport and across the country are at the door of Keir Starmer. And I think he would make himself a better leader if he apologised and said, I shouldn't have done that. My terrorisms are, and Lord Carlisle are correct. We won't do that again. Just like if he'd gone to those women in Liverpool and said, I am your Prime Minister and I can assure you I'm going to do everything I can for this never, ever to happen again. We might have got up, not believed him, but he hasn't shown any of that, has he? That emotion, that sympathy, that caring. It's like Brian Clough. Everyone thought Brian Clough just shouted at his players because that was his kind of persona. But it wasn't. He understood the needs of every individual player and how to get the best out of them, like a great manager would. Talking of which, did you see Coventry? We beat Derby. We thrashed Derby. And I notice Ben the Ram, who always takes the mick when Derby beat us, and they've beaten us for the last 4 or 5 games, I think. But we hammered them yesterday. Well done to Frank Lampard and the boys. What a game. I digress. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to get into this about they're still trying to blame us. Just like I believe they will blame us if there's any real riots outside the migrant hotels. Maybe that's why he's not going. But when you see some of those videos, those young kids have been making, like, did you see the one in Canary Wharf where they've got all the radiators, the air conditioning units, the mattresses, all stored in the car park? And I was thinking, well, that's wrong because they'll get damp. And then I realised, no, they're the ones they're chucking out. They're bringing in new stuff. And then we hear, and we see the coaches last night, they're moving them. Where are they moving them to? And if we're getting sexual assaults from a minority of these people, which is, it is a minority, excuse me, I got hiccups. You surely don't give them more freedom, do you? By putting them in homes where they're not even going to be checked up on. I don't know. It hurts my head, all this. I'm going to go for a long walk now, if you don't mind. Thank you very much for joining in. I'll be back again tomorrow at 6:30. Thanks to everybody who's donated. You know how to do it. Either press the $ sign here on YouTube Or alternatively, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. And thank you for your support. I hope you like these extra ones that I put in when I feel like it. And as I say, next week we'll do Monday to Thursday and we'll shove in some extras as well. And thank you as well for all your emails and comments on the long form interviews. You seem to like that as well. I've got to get my own show again where I can do a bit of both. Light and shade, long form interviews and have callers and all the rest. That's where I've got to get to. But we're building slowly and your donations are helping. So thanks for doing that. So until we speak again, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See you tomorrow. Bye.